Greetings, brothers and sisters. And so we begin. We begin today's lesson with messages for Monsieur. While the subject that we speak of was hoped and intended to be included in the conversations that him and I go through, it is not. The lessons will be done in single format to simply speak it through. However, in our meetings for conversations, he can ask clarifying questions from this one in any way that he chooses. But the lessons, which would be called for this part of the series, the lesson of free will, the true nature of free will, is meant for everyone. And so we must break the news to him that it is not about him particularly. And so he is welcome to ask clarifying questions when we are doing our conversation series, as it should be. To those who would listen, this topic of free will is meant as a state of being, not intellectual understanding. Although if you choose to only listen to the lesson but not do the work, you will clearly gain intellectual understanding from it. And while there may be some insights that occur from this, being within the intellect, the ultimate fruit that can be attained will never dawn. And so we recommend, suggest, say it would behoove you, if you truly wish to grow to this lesson being an experience of being, to go back to the beginning lessons and move from there up, if they are new to this series. The reason being is that it sets a foundation for this to stand on. There are certain changes that must happen and occur, work to be done, to be able to understand it from a state of being, a state of experience, a state of knowingness, versus just intellectually grasping it within the perceptions that you currently hold. And so those lessons are there for a reason. They are there for you, if you would choose to listen. And so today we begin a new series, understanding the true nature of will, understanding the purpose of being, and understanding the energy dynamics that go into that, of going from a place of intellectual sense of identity and self, based on ego, and moving beyond that to the pristine silence of what is, and a state of being and a state of knowing. What are we talking about? We are talking about the combining of wills, the joining in alignment with what you call your higher mind, higher self, and your will. If you look at your life and truly examine and observe, there is the goal that you may have, what you are attempting to create, what you are attempting to do. And where you end up, most often, is never where you intended. And it is looked at as life, either agreeing with you or not agreeing with you, or wrapping it into the great mystery of it is God's will and is not meant to be understood. Go back to our lesson on the basics of taking responsibility. Responsibilities for one's creations, responsibilities for one's mind. At this point into the lessons, it should be able to be easily grasped and understood. There is the subconscious, within that subconscious is many personalities, ones that get invoked depending on what physical situation occurs. Is it about work? Is it about finances? Is it about family? Is it about the subconscious? Is it about the spiritual? Is it about identity of self? All of these things have their own particular style of voice. And when you have something that combines multiple platforms, my work is affected, and so therefore my finances are affected, which then affects my family and household. Well, then you have multiple voices going off at once. Which one is dominant? Which one is not? Which one shall take precedence? What is the discussion inward of all of these fears? Fears of how you're going to handle it. Understand that when those voices get enacted in your consciousness as it is, the motivation for them to speak at this point in time, for the majority of the time that they speak, is fear. It is fear that you do not have enough, that there will not be enough, that you will not be able to survive, that you are being threatened. The unknown that gets darker and wider and longer the more you perceive it. The more possibilities get crammed into there of what could possibly happen if things don't go the way I think they should. And so the voices debate. And it sounds like we are saying that you are schizophrenic. And in a way, you are. These voices influence you at all times. They get put into your mixture of a creation of what you are intending. Which one becomes threatened? Which one must speak up to defend? Who is the counter opinion? All of these little voices going on in the background. Except for many of you, you're not even aware that it is occurring. You're only aware of the I. I want, I need, I should, I shouldn't. And all of these little influences running in the background, influencing your decisions, influencing your perceptions. Why did you make the choice at that particular time to focus on the family as priority versus the work? What made you switch your perception from one to the other? How did it come to an agreement to combine the two? All of these little decisions, all of these little factors, what do you think is motivating them behind the scenes? If you have done the work from previous lessons, you know the answer. To those who are new, we give the question. Something to consider, something to think about. Is your mind wider and greater than you perceive? Is what you call the subconscious something more than the vague understanding that you hold? Is it possible to chart it? Is it possible to communicate with it? Is it possible to bring the subconscious into the conscious level so that it cooperates and works together? What happens when those wills align? And notice what we said. We said those wills. In this, we are talking about free will. And what we said more than implies that your free will does not rest in the I. Free will is also freely given to the subconscious. And so, like when you are with your friends and deciding where you should go out to eat or what movie you should see, and there's a great debate on what it should be and why it should be, because there's a complexity of personalities that are involved in a decision. What does the majority say? What happens to the ones that don't get their way? Do they really want to sit down for a 3-hour movie they have no interest in just to be with you? Some do, some don't. Do they throw a hissy fit if they lose their way? Do they cause trouble? Do they make it a miserable evening? All of these things that you know in physical life and roll your eyes at, this is not a pleasant situation, is your internal dialogue daily. It is your life. It is the way things work. And so the beginning work is to bring those wills into alignment. And the one thing that brings them all into agreement is not what movie you're going to see. It's a being of service. It's a being of service. Jesus knew this. The Buddha knew this. Eckhart Tolle knows this. The Dalai Lama knows this. There's a reason why so many paths all end up at the same place. Service. Because the realization dawns, it is our purpose to flow with, to extend like love extends, to embrace like love embraces. And the word love is highly inappropriate. And the reason being is because it's what you conceptualize intellectually about it. It's not the experience of it. The experience of it truly has no words, but it extends without limitation. It doesn't see separation. It simply is. It is the blood that you call God, constantly pumping, constantly moving, constantly keeping everything in existence, separated and at one at the same time. The ultimate illusion, the yin and the yang, constantly circling and pulling on each other. It is the point of perception of I am, which is I serve. It is the purpose. And this energy, this understanding, this dawning is what the others, names that we mentioned, used to achieve, to get beyond the ideology of the separated I, me, and began to see others as themselves. It is a natural reflection of flow to be of service. And it is what ends the arguments of all the little voices in the subconscious. Because each of their true purpose is to serve in their own way, in their own angle, and joining as one. We have said in previous lessons that in our group that channels through our sun, there is 15 of us. 15 minds working together seamlessly and harmoniously to bring through energy through our sun into one voice, one lesson. There is no argument. There is no debate. And yet each of the consciousnesses that are involved see things in very different ways. But we know harmoniously who speaks, who pertains the wisdom for this particular problem. How does that add to this wisdom here? And it seamlessly gets put into one thread, one voice, one angle, and comes through. There is no argument, there is no debate, there is no separate I's, there is we. And what we are saying to you is that when you deal with the subconscious and you bring those wills that is using free will with your will into one. You understand the beauty that is your mind. You understand the purpose and the potential of purpose under the banner of service, under the banner of being. Not to heal the world, they must heal themselves, but to heal your perception of it. Your perception. Just yours. And that act of demonstration wakes others. It is the way that it works. It is the way that it has been built. Only God can wake God. And only when you are joined under the banner of purpose will the doorway open to understand that which created us. Because we are finally working with versus working against. Now we bring in the concept of the higher self, another illusion. That which knows, that which is still in the knowing, is also a will, which doesn't mean it agrees with yours. Perhaps you were going for a particular type of job, and you did everything you could to go for it. You had everything prepared. You understood all the reasons why you wanted this. It was going to increase money. It was going to increase prestige. It was going to allow you to move to a particular location. Well, there are certain aspects of your astrological chart or subconscious that would be highly interested in this. Taurus is in agreement because we get a better home. Cancer is in agreement because it gets to cozy up in the new home. Virgo is in agreement because she can help you organize all of this. Capricorn, well, Capricorn is truly out for it because you get to accomplish something physically. But wait, the goal that you chose doesn't speak to the knowing of within. So Capricorn decides to sign off because it is only interested in creating an outward perception of the truth that it knows within. And while what you're doing would certainly create physical luxuries, Capricorn knows this will not lead you to the truth that you know within. So it signs off, it's not interested. So on and so forth. And you don't end up where you thought. You didn't get the job. You didn't get to move. And you don't understand why. Why is life always against me? Why does this always happen? And later on, a new opportunity comes up that you didn't expect, didn't want, and didn't try for, but just falls into place. And you realize 6 months later, you wouldn't have it any other way. Whose will is that, is the question we ask. What just happened there? And while we use a particular situation, there are many situations in your life that you can relate to this. What just happened there? And you say it's the mystery of God. Well, that is vaguely true. But it avoids responsibility of taking responsibility for your mind. What just happened there? Well, that is your higher mind. That is your higher self. And it is not a divine mystery. It is simply something you don't perceive, but it is still your true will. It is still your true will. And in the end, you end up with opportunities that are perfect for you. And Capricorn signs back on. Taurus is happy because it has a more comfortable situation at home. Cancer is ecstatic although moody because it didn't get its way, but the social situations of comfort is something to look into. Perhaps this is good for us. Virgo doesn't care because she now gets to organize the new ideas. As long as she is thinking, she's quite happy and content. She could be of service. Let me help you organize that. What it is doesn't matter to her. The fact that she could be of service to organize it does. And so with the example we just gave, shows communication between the different levels, or the miscommunication between the different levels. And then there is the observer. There is you, who is listening right now. You, and this is the paradox, you are not the ego, and you are not the intellect. Those are a collection of data tapes. The ego wears the mask to protect you in the world so that you are presentable, so you can wake up in the morning, you can go to work, you can pay your bills, you have a home, you have food, you are socially acceptable, you are safe. Its intention, as we have said before, is always good. Its methods, however, highly questionable. And why? Because it takes the insanity of illusion, works within it, and tries to make it sane. Let us repeat that. It takes the insanity of illusion and works with it and attempts to make it sane. Its goal is to take everything that does not add up, everything that you know to be untrue, everything that somewhere inside you know is wrong, and present it in a way that makes it acceptable. There are all of these things personally of yourself you must sacrifice, lie about, pretend to be something you're not, just to participate with it. And somehow, incredibly, it makes it acceptable to you. You can get through the day. You can accept that which is unacceptable, that which you cannot accept, and somehow accept it. And you make it through another day. Is it necessary? Is it required? The ego is only as twisted as you make your world. Let us repeat that. The ego is only as twisted as you make your world. Your world is currently built on power, those who have it and those who do not. How is that attributed? Money, obviously. Money is power. Money is control. Money is safety. And then it comes into social status, relationships, jobs, church positions, status in the community, being a channel, being a reader. All of these things are used by the ego to go ahead and present an image that you are acceptable, that you are okay. That's not how you feel, though, is it? If you truly felt okay, then why do you have therapists? Why are they so big? Why all the life coaches? Why the channelings? What is the requirement? Why the Reiki? And the multitude of different type of modalities. Why the astrology? To include Mansour. You are going because you know you're not okay, because you don't feel okay, and you're wondering what will make you feel okay. And you're looking for the answer to be presented to the ego to enforce what is already presently clear, when the opportunity should be used consciously to break what is apparently clear, to shatter it and see what's beyond, to reduce the need for such an illusion, not reinforce it. What are your real motives? Why do you really seek help? To be told you're okay? That is an obvious answer. And it is an answer, and this will be harsh to some, but it is an answer that is a move to weakness. Do you seek to reinforce what you already know, that and be told that you're okay? You know you're not okay, or else why would you be going? How do you release what's not okay? And the answer is to see the truth. A truth perhaps you may not like, may not want, but once you accept, you move into healing. Our son cannot fly. He doesn't have hollow bones. He doesn't have wings. He could want it all he wants, but he's not a bird, nor can he breathe water. But listen to the insanity of it. He wants it, and so he goes to therapists to affirm that he's a bird, to affirm that one day he may leap off the porch and fly, even if it's just for a glide. And if the therapist tries to tell him he's not a bird, he immediately shuts down and leaves. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have the information I need. And so he goes to another, and eventually find ones that's willing to take the money and entertain the idea that you are a bird. And he takes that reaffirmation of that perception of being a bird and feels good. But eventually, it wears off because he knows he's not a bird. And so he goes for another session and another and another and surrounds himself with people that will convince him he is a bird. To wrap the illusion around what he really is. To constantly be impressed with that which makes his perceptions weak. And while we talk about the absurdity of it, is it absurd? Is it really so absurd? What are your motives? And this is where the observer self observes. The ego will convince you you are a bird. And why? From that momentary belief that you are. You have social status, you feel acceptable, you feel like you're okay, you feel uplifted even. You feel like you have a place. And then it gnaws at you. And it gnaws at you. And then it gnaws at you. Because your true will can only teach you what you are, not what you are not. And so you seek more experiences to confirm that you are a bird, so that you could feel accepted, because you are in fear, because you live in fear. Perhaps if you faced the fear, you would not be wasting such energy in life, that life would be clearer, that life would be simpler, that you would feel grounded, that you would feel connected, that you would feel authentic, not wrapped in illusion to be authentic, but you would be authentic. And the foundation that would support you would actually support you, would actually last, doesn't need to constantly be rebuilt. That in fact, you could build something upon it and it continues to stand. That the idea of self that you treasure is not in quicksand, constantly ever sinking, constantly ever falling apart, constantly in question, constantly trying to maintain and fix it. It is not a house to live in, it's falling apart. If that is not apparently clear with what is going on with your society right now, then we don't know when it will be. Who are you? What did God create? Do you have an answer? Do you know? Not quoting a book. Not quoting a book. Don't turn to your Bibles. Turn to your heart. That is the way Jesus pointed. He didn't point to a book. He pointed to his heart. Who are you? The Buddha stated the point of meditation, of grace from within. Eckhart Tolle speaks of the mind and the energy of what is and surrendering. Again, all of these paths, all these different beings, and somehow they end up at the same place. Coincidence? We think not. The answers, brothers and sisters, is before you. The only question is, are you willing to hear it? The next question is, are you willing to do something about it? And it's an interesting double-folded question we ask you. Because if the answer is no, the observation can come into place to not attack it, not think you're wrong, not be shameful, not be guilty, not what we're suggesting. But the observational self gets to observe, why aren't you? What are you protecting? If you must stay in the shadows and cannot stand within the light, what don't you want to see? What don't you want to see? And that leads into the subconscious. Before you can get to the joining of the wills of the higher mind, the higher self, and see it as one and know that, you must begin with the subconscious. That which is disowned will wreak havoc. And it has. Look at your world. All of this is a direct result of ignoring your subconscious, leaving that which is meant to be conscious in the dark. The subconscious is not some mysterious realm that you can't traverse. It is meant to be conscious. You are meant to use all of your mind, all of your capabilities in harmony. Now, while we say what you're in harmony with is purpose, that is an intellectual statement until you understand it from a state of being. Until you understand it from a state of being, the magic cannot occur. And while we would love to talk about the aspects of the higher self, we begin with the aspects of the lower self. we begin with the subconscious. Because until there is an arrangement for being in service and understanding the true intent of the tools of personality you have been given, you are not interested in what that which is has to say. And again, strong words. Why do we say that? Well, casually look around your world. Are we lying? Now look at the ones who teach this, that are physically present, still on your earth. The Dalai Lama, many yogis, Eckhart Tolle, ones who know, Mickey Singer, those who are present and holding that space. What is their point of perception? Why does it match? Why does it sound similar? Why are their answers particularly the same? Though the background flavor may be different, the essence of it is the same. Coincidence? We think not. We know not. Because we have moved beyond the experience of the body. And eventually, you will too. It is a matter of a point of perception and understanding your purpose. But first, for the lesson of true will, first, in understanding a state of being, first, of getting beyond it being an intellectual concept, is the experience of that which is within, the voices that are there in the background, constantly influencing you, with no referee. The observer self sits in the seat of consciousness, sits in the throne that God created for it, which holds judgment on its court. Not judgment in the way that you know it, not judgment in the way that you were trained. It is the part that observes and says truth. It is the part that teaches itself the truth. But first it must observe it. It must understand it, or the little selves will not listen. And we will use this example. Any parent that has had a situation where they have not been able to parent, not been able to play that role properly or successfully with their children. Perhaps it was some type of addiction. Perhaps it was a medical condition. Perhaps it was work and making all the wrong choices of not being available for their children. Perhaps there was no choice. It was to keep things afloat. But they all know when they step back into that role as parent, the first thing the child generally does is not welcome them with open arms and give them a hug. They punch them in the face. Who are you to put your will against me? You have not been present. And then dawns and begins their relationship, a very difficult one at first, of learning to be trusted, learning to be regular, learning to be present. And so begins the relationship of self, of reclaiming the energy which has been forgotten. Expect to be punched in the face. You have not been present. You have not even considered. You have done things to yourself of making choices that goes against the self. You knew this, but you did it for whatever reason you chose. It will give us more wealth. It will keep our wealth. It will keep the relationship. so on, so forth. All the while knowing you just whittled a part of your soul off and threw it to the floor to keep the physical. Then you say, life demands this. And then you say, God set this up and we cannot understand its will. This is about you and your relationship to self. And it knows what you did. Do you? Because until you address that relationship, how do you expect your inner self to trust you? You don't trust you. Or are we mistaken? That which is disowned must be reclaimed. And it is a process. How could you move into love if you cannot demonstrate love to yourself? How could you help others with love and be of service if you haven't given service to the little selves? It's either you love or you don't. And when you do, that which has been disowned, that has wreaked havoc, must be embraced. The picture of Jesus washing his disciples' feet. This is supposed to be the master. In this world, let us just say people that step forward to give lessons on one of the modalities of healing, while they talk a good game of service, do they wash your feet? Do they treat you as equal? Or do they treat you just good enough to get your money? An important question. And we ask the question because this, as time goes forward, is going to be paramount in getting through the changes before you. No more games. No more time. The changes are before you. Service will solve your problems. Service will give you answers. Service will bring you together. Well, every instinct in this world is telling you to rip everything and everyone apart. Service, service, service. Know your purpose. And our peace to you.